Good evening. Um, I was thinking about something I've mentioned in the past, but never really discussed in this way. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder 2003, 3 months after after my sons were out of the hospital. Which was 3 months for one, for sure. And then probably within a month, so 4 months after my boy's accident, and I had them both back at home, there came a point where I had to bring the one back and forth to the hospital every week. The other one for about a month, but another one, the oldest one, it went on until his surgery. So got out of the hospital in March. His surgery was in September. So from March to September, I had to drive an hour to New Orleans. An hour and a half to New Orleans for a doctor's appointment. And it was at that time that I noticed that I was having trouble driving. And I actually pulled over on the side of the road. He was in the back in a booster seat belted in, and in the middle, and I was white knuckling the steering wheel and trying not to get hysterical, and I was pretty silent, but I know my breathing was off and tears were just streaming out of my eyes, and I was trying to hide it because I did not want to upset him in any way. And I calmed down. I was flinching. It's called Startle Reflexes. You are flinching at things that aren't necessarily there. Jerking your steering wheel of the car. Flinching away from something when you walk. Mine was in the vehicle. And it just didn't make any sense to me at all. So I made an appointment with a psychiatrist and was tested and blah, 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 and then told that I had post-traumatic stress disorder. And ironically, I had written a paper in college which mainly focused on veterans and people who survived like hurricanes and tornadoes and things like that. So when she said that to me, I said, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, I wasn't in the car accident. I wasn't in the hospital. I wasn't in the car accident with my boys. So it didn't make sense to me that I was having trouble driving a car. And she simply asked me, witnessing your two children they could possibly die wasn't good enough to cause this. Well, I witnessed a lot. I witnessed them get off the ambulance. I rode with my son in the ambulance and vacuumed his vomit, which was really blood. Yeah, I kind of witnessed a lot, even though I wasn't in the car. So then I was mad. I was furious. I was mad. The answer to post-traumatic stress disorder is go to a counselor and here's your meds. And the way they handle it is completely off kilter. Now, I understand I'm not a vet. I didn't go to war. I'm a different, maybe, category of post-traumatic stress disorder, even though they like to throw us into one. But, there's similarities. There are nightmares. There are the startle reflexes. They're the, skittish it sounds. I had problems initially with the sound of an ambulance that would, heighten my anxiety, my heart rate, breathing. I'm trying to remember because I don't have them anymore. Counseling is okay. The medication might be necessary, especially for the first year, but I wouldn't suggest, high doses of anything. The repercussions for taking those medicines, the side effects, it's not worth it. And really, you're not fixing anything. You're just masking what you need to deal with. And so they should have something after a year and the initial shock of it all, a year or two, maybe at the most, depending on the situation. And then you wean yourself off, and in the meantime, you're learning coping mechanisms, how to talk to yourself silently or even out loud if need be. Mind over matter. Making the right choices. Not putting yourself in situations where you're going to have difficulties. Challenging yourself when you're ready, because some things need to lessen or possibly go away, if possible. It can all be done, but it takes time. And I did it. I made a decision, and I'm not on medication anymore. But the medication I was on, there were repercussions. I had to have work done to my teeth. Just the repercussions for being on that medication. So, but you have to want it. And you have to be firm, but not ridiculous with yourself, because it's going to take time. And she said to me in that initial meeting, the psychiatrist, because I asked, well, what's the cure? What do I need to do? And she told me that there really was no cure. There was no study where it was ever cured. I didn't like that answer. I came from a household where my mother used drugs to avoid life and made up things to get drugs. Now I'm faced with really having something, and I don't want the drugs. but I don't know how to cope and fix this, and nobody's teaching me how to do it. And I certainly didn't learn coping skills growing up. Not those kind of coping skills. Survival, physical survival, yes, but emotional, this is on a whole different level. But in time, with determination and change in your thought processes, it can be done. Learning how to rethink things, you can improve. Now, I still have problems with things. I still get just extremely anxious when someone else is driving, I'm in the car, and there are cars all around us. Traffic situation. Or going fast, but a lot of cars around you. Just being surrounded, I guess, in a sense. Or seeing brake lights up ahead, and I don't have any control. I can't do the braking. That still is a problem, but it's gotten better. I'm not like grabbing and startling people in the vehicle. But I have more control over myself. I've learned to try and distract myself, try and go somewhere else, because ultimately you really don't have control. Watching is not going to fix anything. You have to have trust, and that's highly difficult. When you know that life changes on a dime. That's what PTSD is knowing, really knowing that we have no control. And it's knowing, having that knowledge deep within your soul that you don't have control is just, it just knocks you right off your feet. It takes the wind out of you. It just changes your perspective on the world. It changes your priorities. So not only do you have these symptoms that make you different, you've changed. And the world you created before this happened no longer fits. And it's hard. For me, there was also a loss of a marriage. But he was driving, and it was his fault. He was drunk. And the guilt I carried with that, even though I didn't know, I wasn't there, I was homesick. And I trusted the wrong person. So, in a vehicle, I need to trust somebody, but then it's a mind mind freak. Yeah, I'll just say it that way. Because there's a deeper knowledge for people who go through facing death. And knowing what that means. And seeing suffering. and knowing what that means, and being helpless, or trying to do something and it wasn't enough, or trusting somebody you shouldn't have trusted and things went bad. All those things. But there is another side. It's a part of being human. You have a deeper knowledge with post-traumatic stress disorder of what it really is to be human. And you need to take advantage of that and use it to your advantage. Get closer to your Creator. There's a reason that you're still here with that knowledge. It's not, and people get depressed and stuff. I'm here to tell you, depression is normal, to a certain extent. The problem is that the way that we have been raised and the way that we have grown up, and the separation and not having a close, tight-knit community of people to rely on, and extended families staying in one area, has caused, and all the dysfunction and getting away from our core values, getting away from community, is what's caused this lack of being able to cope with life. You gotta be tough when you have no one to rely on. And for a lot of people, it's just too much. But people have got to toughen up and get stronger. I'm not saying, it's easy. I already told you it's going to take a long time. We're sitting in 2022. I was talking about 2003. And I got off the meds 5 years ago or so. It's a process. You can do it faster than I did, with determination. But you also have to be easy on yourself. You're gonna have bad days. Allow yourself to have a bad day. Don't beat yourself up over a bad day and make it worse. But don't stay in that bad day. And let it become the next day. And the day after that. And the day after that. You allow yourself to feel and be human, but don't allow yourself to not live. It's not easy, but it's a choice. And we need all the good people to get better and be with us. Because there's a whole lot of bad out there. So that is post-traumatic stress disorder. All it is knowing that you don't have control. Knowing deep down in your soul. And your job is to find strength. I find strength in my Creator. Find strength in your Creator, who will help you at your lowest if you ask. I'm not saying they're going to help you with everything, but keep trying. Keep trying. And it'll get better. And one day you'll look in the mirror and you'll know yourself again. You'll be a little bit older and a hell of a lot wiser. Y'all have a great evening. Bye for now.